just come to a job here to replace a set of taps inside. So what we're doing here is we're coming to turn the water off, which is normally out the front of the house on the property boundary. And a little tip, if you suspect you've got a water leak, basically you just got to check the last number on the right here for approximately 5 minutes, and if it moves more than one number, that means you're losing more than a litre of water. So if there's four red numbers, the fourth number is tenths of a litre, 3 numbers, the last number's litres. So I'll just turn that off here. Go drain the pressure down. Right. So basically what we've got here, come to the job, having issues with this set of taps here, so they're quite old, but you can see in here, I'll show you later, one of these flexible hoses underneath here has a significant rust spot on it, which is notorious for splitting and flooding homes. So we'll replace all of that with new isolation valves as well. And yeah, let's get to it. So always drain the pressure down first. So some of these taps are quite tricky to get off. Basically because we know we're not going to be, you can see there's a leak coming out of the spindle, but we know we're not going to reuse these, so it's okay to use the multi-grips to undo them. Basically what we're doing here is taking these spindles off so we can remove the breech piece from underneath the basin, so we can replace the whole lot. So these are just your quarter turn ceramic disc taps as well. Now, sometimes these can be quite tricky to remove, as you can see. But we got it. So just got to release the locking nut here that holds the breech piece in place. And then these should just pop straight out underneath here. Like so. You can see over time how much gunk there is. Now, this happens at every house. It doesn't matter how clean you are, unless you're cleaning it once every 2 weeks and get underneath the flanges. Every single house looks like this. So we'll just give that a little wipe down for now. Basically what we do now is, I'm just going to remove these drawers out of the way, gain access. So now, as you can see, we'll put some rags down there, make sure we don't drop too much water. Now we just got to disconnect the flexi hoses, and then we can remove that whole breech piece from underneath there. A little shift. You can see here they've got little isolation taps there. That is very good. It's actually a requirement now for those to be installed. You see there, it's popped out nice and easy, just like that. But as you can see, that hose right there is already starting to bulge. And that could have burst at any time and flooded the home. So that's why it's super important to check your flexible connections under any of your sinks. They come on mixer taps, basin taps, anything. Pretty much all the new stuff has the flexible connections underneath the sink. Insurance companies are starting to not cover these if they do split, as it's a maintenance thing. So just make sure you're checking them every 6 months minimum. And if you see any signs of like these little rust spots here, get them replaced straight away. Just save your home from getting flooded. So now that we've done that, we just got to take this spout off, and there's a little locking nut underneath, which sometimes can be quite tricky. You can see that up there. Hopefully you can see that. We got that done now. Beautiful. So the way I like to get all this stuff off is with a Stanley blade. Should be one in here somewhere. Give it a little wipe down and then just give it a bit of a scratch. The other really good way you can clean this stuff off, I've used WD-40 with a scouring pad. Generally works quite well. Now WD-40 doesn't damage anything and it is really good for getting this stuff off. I just don't have any on me today. So this is another way you can do it. Just nice and careful. So I'm actually going to go out and get a little bit of sandpaper out of my van. Some really fine stuff as well, which just helps basically have this looking like brand new. Something different, something that you've tried yourself and you're struggling a bit with, don't be afraid to let us know in the comments. So the different shading is obviously because it hasn't seen any light. So get it as close to new as possible. Very handy, this emery cloth. Very good for cleaning copper pipe and stuff like that, but also just cleaning up anything to do with this as well. See there, nice and clean, very nice. Ready for our new installation. Alright, so let's give that a nice wipe down. Beautiful. Alright, here we have our new tapware. Now what I like to do is break everything down here, get it all sitting out in the spot where it's going to go. So I have a process that I stick to every time I do this. It's exactly the same. Any tapware, any basin 3-in-line breech pieces. So got cold there, so I just sit everything where it's gonna go. Basically we've got our nice new 1/4 turn lever taps here. Got the flange off. So all 1/4 turn taps have a hot and a cold, so they turn the right way. So the best way is to just check them to make sure that we don't have to change them over after we've installed them. Which I've done hundreds of times. So now I'll just check it straight away. I only got to check one because obviously that's it. So, see there we got blue, which means cold. So they turn in together and turn out together to shut on and off. So what I do to make sure that we don't get confused is I'll just leave the body part of this one off. so we know that that's the cold and we can put it in on the right side. So basically what we do now is take the top fixing nut off and wind the bottom one nearly all the way to the bottom. Very rare if you've got a really deep basin, all the way to the bottom. Otherwise, if it's a pretty skinny one like this one, leave a little bit. Just either or, you're going to wind it up at the end anyway. So take those off, put those over there ready, and then I just sit this down out the way for now. Same with this one. Get this one prepared. Everything's sitting in the right spot, ready to go. So we don't need to take this off because we already know the other one's a cold one. So just make sure that's something. It's very, you might be going, oh, the taps aren't turning the right way. That's why, especially with your quarter turn stuff. So just take the top nut off again. Now this is where the most important part of it. So I always do a dummy fit. So basically just tighten that up a little, finger tight, pretty much. A little bit of a nip with the shifter. Same with the other side. A little nip. And then just give it a dummy fit. And as you can see, fits perfectly. Now they're not all like that. Some basin sets are closer together. So another important tip is always dummy fit, but when you're cutting the copper, never take too much off. I can't stress that enough. Always just take a little bit and keep checking it, because if you cut this too short, you will never stop it from leaking, and then you've basically got to go and buy a whole new basin set to get the new one installed. So I'll take these nuts off because we will be installing new flexible hoses. Here we are, got some flexi hoses here. So basically now that's ready to go. I chuck these flexible hoses on and tighten everything up that needs to be done, that I can do now, which saves me from having to reach back right up in underneath there. Can be quite tricky. So that. Tighten this one up. Now you don't need to over tighten these. Just firm. That's enough. See, you can see there I've only done it with my hand holding the spindle. You don't need to get grips or anything like that. It's nice and firm. They won't leak. Same with the flexis. You don't have to absolutely crank them. Just nice and firm. Anything, if you over tighten stuff, it just breaks down easier. If you need to crank it, it's obviously not the right part. So now they're ready to go. So what I'll do before I put this in and crowd the cupboard more, because there's not much space, is I'll install the new isolation valves. So here. So I prefer to use these ones. They've got a nice swivel nut on them, so you don't have to use thread tape with these, which saves a lot of time, especially when you're in a tight space. Anything that makes it easier is always good. As they say, work smarter, not harder. Now these ones have been thread taped in, so you got to always make sure that you're holding the pipe coming out of the wall so you don't twist or kink it. Sorry if you can't see this well, guys, it's a tight spot. I'm gonna have to do this by feel. Again, with these you don't have to over tighten them. If you over tighten them, you'll split the rubber. Just nice and firm. Trap out to get some more space. It's always fun working in little cupboards like this. Sorry if you can't see again, guys, it's just hard to get that camera, get this ready. Make sure you have everything ready, especially when you're doing new valves and stuff like that. Save a lot of water spilling out all over your cupboards. That's done. I'll just drain these rags out. Cupboard nice and dry. Alright, so as you can see, our new isolation valve's in there ready to go. So now we can put the new breech piece in and connect it all up. So as you can see there, cold, as we left the body piece off last time, so we know that's cold. Saves us a little bit of work down the track. We'll just sit that in there ready. So the next step is to put the spout on. Now this is a swivel spout, so always put the the plastic washer on there, and that helps seal it. So I always leave the grub screw, if you need to change O-rings in the spout down the track, just to the right a little bit, because these ones only have to be hand tight. So we get that in underneath, put the locking nut on, like so, finger tight, and then basically what I do is I hold it from underneath and then just give it. Let's give it some twisties. And try to get it facing the front. Like so. So now you've got easy access to that if we need it in the future. Alright. So now, so the O-rings on the breech piece are already lubricated. So you just line that up and they should just slot in as easy as that. So what I do, put the top locking nut on, just like so. Same with the other one. Just get that thread started, make sure it's not cross-threaded. Don't mind me, amateur. So can't handle the pressure of being on camera. Alright, so ready. So now what I do is I just push them down hard and then wind up the bottom fixing nut until it's hand tight. Same on the other side. And as you can see there, now they are nice and level. And all we need to do is grab our shifter and tighten these up. Again, do not need to over tighten these. It's nice and firm. You'll feel it like that. That is nice. And that will hold these fixed in place nicely. Beautiful. Give it a little wipe down, make sure it's nice and clean under there before we put the shrouds on. Beautiful. Shrouds on again, hand tight, don't need to put any tools on these ones. This one is too short. Maybe I am backwards and forgot to put the top locking nut on. Don't mind me guys, I'm sure you were pointing that out before I recognised it. If you did, well done. Make sure this is, again, not over tight, just firm. Seat that washer down onto the seat. And the same with this, just nice and firm, not over tight. Shroud on. As you can see, these are a good little brand that we use, and put that on there, and you'll see what I mean with the, so they're on all the way already, so we want to get out. See there, they sit very nicely. If you didn't check to see which one was the hot and the cold one in the beginning, you would have had taps going opposite directions. So now the way that they sit there is that's off, on. You can see they sit perfectly symmetrical, and this is why we like these particular taps. Very high quality, and they are very nice aesthetically to look at. So that's all done. Now before we install the waste pipe again, we are going to connect the flexible hoses up to the isolation taps. So I always like to get ones that are slightly longer because you can always maneuver them, and I like to just put a nice little roll on them like so, as you can see. Hopefully you can see that. Connect them on there like so. Same with the hot. Nice and firm. Again, don't need to over tighten. Can't stress that enough, guys. If it's leaking when it's firm, over tightening it isn't going to fix the issue. It could end up causing more issues. Right, so now they're nice and firm, as you can see. Right, now we rinse, give that a bit of a clean. Trying to readjust this waste pipe into a better position so it's away from the isolation valves. that's all in place. So now we're just going to go turn the water back on, but what I always make sure of is that these isolation valves are turned off before I go and do so. Just in case I have forgotten to connect something, we don't have to worry about something blowing off. So we'll go turn that water on and we'll come back in and have a look and see how it is. Always make sure you go and turn the hose tap off so you're not wasting water, or wherever you've drained the water down, just make sure that's turned off before you turn the water on. Always turn it on nice and slow. As you can see, like I was saying before, that literage. So you can see that it's stopped, which means any of our installation that we've put in actually isn't leaking, which is always a plus sign. So we'll head back in there and we'll go and test it all out. As you can see, it's a bit overcast, a bit cloudy today. Still very humid, very warm. Just get rid of all this stuff out of the way. Alright, turn these isolation valves on. Beautiful, no leaking. Success. Let a bit of air come through as we drain down the line. That's normal, that's all okay. Always just test them, make sure they're working, make sure they shut off properly, no leaks. Always clean down your workspace. Beautiful, guys. Look at that. Nice new tapware, all working, looks nice. Full warranties on everything. Awesome. Thanks very much for coming along with us today on a new tap installation, guys. Like I said before, if you've enjoyed this, you found it informative, don't be afraid to give it a like. Hit that bell, get subscribed to our channel. Hopefully we're going to bring more and more of these videos to you. If there's anything in particular you'd like to see, don't be afraid to show us in the comments, hit us up. But yeah, thanks for coming along, guys.